should tweet as well. I'm slightly prepared this month.
Tweet.
Have you noticed, by the way, that nowadays you can schedule tweets without going to TweetDeck? You can just schedule them from like the actual regular tweeting site.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm a little
you can
surprised that wasn't always a thing.
It wasn't always a thing. It definitely wasn't always a thing.
No, I know. It's a feature that like I would have thought should be there for
I mean, definitely. That would be a nice feature. Oh, Soren!
Say hi,
big boy.
Boy.
That baby is gone, so I get your laugh again, right?
Early today.
Such a lovely
All
boy.
right. We are definitely live. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to the March of Stitch and Bitch, where we get together to work on our crafts and talk about whatever we feel like talking about. Books, media, stuff going on. We were just talking a little bit ago that it might be a little bit chaotic. It's one of those days or months or whatever. So if this is a little bit all over the place, that is why.
It's the first day of spring. Chaotic.
It is. Maybe that's why.
I mean, it definitely seems like the first day of spring, because today was the first day that I could go outside with just a wind jacket.
Yeah.
And sneakers too.
So nice
warm
here.
outside. It's beautiful. It's gonna rain all day tomorrow here, so I am enjoying the sun today. So
the nature approved skating rink outside our parking lot and in our parking lot has finally decided to melt, so it's safe to walk once again.
good.
Yeah,
Very
we've
good.
had enough meltage that the giant puddle that lives at the bottom of our like front door stairs has actually dissipated.
Good. All right, we should introduce ourselves. I'm Rachel. We're on my channel Colonati, so you probably know who I am. I haven't been around very much recently because I've been very, very low on energy for a number of reasons, but I'm here today. It's a good day. Bree, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Sure. I'm Bree. My channel is Bree Reads Books, where I read books and also do some other stuff. This is Soren. He is a sweet floppy kitty who lives in my house.
He's the best.
He's very sweet.
Mama's boy. He seems very content.
He's very happy right now that there's not a baby in my lap so that he can be the baby.
Yeah. Competition.
Competition is out right now.
Di?
Sure. My name is Diana. I'm normally at Bookish Die, but like Rachel, I've also just had very low energy and been dealing with some very intensive work stuff, so I haven't been recording or doing anything. And I am joined by one of my kitties who does not want to be perceived. This is Leia. She is my chunky girl, who also likes to. No.
There's the other one.
No, this is her. No, this is. I'm using a hair tie as my round marker, and she saw that it wasn't trapped by yarn, and I had to take it. Leia's cat, I have to be careful crafting around because she will do things like steal my hair tie marker, will attack my yarn.
Well, to be fair, you are trying to do something other than giving her much needed attention. So clearly retaliation is needed to make you understand.
Also, all toys in the house are her toys.
Yes.
You would think. Anyway. Yeah. That is me.
Reija?
Oh, yes. Hello, I'm Reija. My channel is The Bookfinch, where I haven't been as active recently because of, work things, which, busy times. Just yesterday I did a live show where I basically did a live show version of my February wrap-up. So I'm kind of in the middle of reviewing and restructuring my content in a bit. So that's the thing that's happening. And I usually talk about fantasy and science fiction, and recently a heck of a ton of webtoons and webcomics and manga.
I'm expecting to hear more today. All right. And this little thing, monster turd on my lap, is Ava. Appear very much
This is for Ava?
Yeah, Ava, she really wants to be on my lap today, which is inconvenient because I can't sit properly at my desk.
No, we don't scratch. Thank you.
You're gonna have to go down. I'm gonna be so cruel and put you on the ground. Here we go.
How dare you?
Oh, here you go.
All
right.
Tonight you will find all the kibbles in your bed as revenge.
I was just thinking I left blankets on my bed, and I know where she's going next.
Actually, I lost track of Luke. I don't know where he is. He disappeared on me.
Oh, he'll appear eventually.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. And hello to everybody in the chat. I see Glenn is here, Joe and Becca. Chris is here. Hello, Chris.
Chris is here. Hey, Chris.
Hello. Oh my god, how many double crochets I have.
That's a nice segue. What's everybody working on?
Things.
Stuff and things.
You can go first, Reija, unless you're counting.
I'm just quickly, okay, now it's good. I'm still okay. So you know how I was making that accursed scarf of doom back in the day that I never finished.
Good.
Yes. And then I was crocheting the other scarf of doom that I have never finished. I'm still doing that. This is the second scarf of doom now. I will probably be making this until foreseeable future because it just doesn't seem to get long enough. I want it to be a good wraparound. I was going to make some granny squares because I found this really stupidly cute granny square pattern, which is like it's granny squares, but it's like spiraling dragon scales.
Huh.
And it looks so cute, but I kind of also want to finish this first, so I don't start another project that will never get finished. Maybe next time. Maybe next month I will have the dragon granny square thing, and then I will try to make like a blanket out of it.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Just realized I dropped a stitch in the middle of a cable pattern. Oh no.
Reija, your elephant Ellie sleeps with little guy every night, just so you know.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy about that. So happy that I forgot immediately how many things I had counted.
Oh no.
But I'm very glad that she is loved, and also that she is withstanding all of the affection.
Yeah, she is been a little beat up by him. She is withstanding very, very well. She doesn't look any worse for wear, but she has been soaked with much baby drool. So.
I'm going next. I am still working on the stam sweater. I am working on the sleeves still. But it is more sleeve-like than last time.
It is more sleeve-like. Look at that.
It is very nice.
Yeah. So we will see if I ever finish this sweater.
You will. I have faith.
I'm going to try and finish it before 2 years start, before it hits the 2-year mark in November. How's that?
I mean, you are doing much better than I am with these scarves. Let me tell you. So I have all the faith that you will be finished before either of my projects will be finished.
And I also don't think I showed you guys because I think our last show was before I went to this yarn store. So there's a yarn store in a town like 40 minutes away that I like. And I don't go very often because I don't like driving to Eugene. But I got some yarns. I found a mosaic shawl pattern that I liked. And
Ooh.
so I'm doing this gray and red, and the red is going to be the primary color and the gray is going to be the accent color.
I love it.
Nice. What shawl pattern is it?
It's in my Ravelry kit. Can't remember off the top of my head.
I know there's some really cool mosaic shawl patterns out there, and I know there's a designer who does a lot of them, and I'm always looking at her stuff going like, oh, I should make that.
Yeah, and I've made something from this designer before. I made back when Firefly Studios was doing their fandom yarn box.
Yeah.
I had got some Star Trek Discovery yarn because one of my friends here is really into Star Trek. And so
I remember you got that.
Yeah, I made her a shawl with that, and it looked really pretty. So, and the pattern was pretty easy to follow. So I figure I might as well try some of the designer's other stuff.
Very cool.
Oh, geez.
I'm interested to see how that turns out. Did I spy a Malabrigo tag?
Yes, that's the gray. And then I got Knitted Wit, which is Portland dyer for the red.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've actually used Knitted Wit's stuff before. I used their yarn in the last mosaic shawl that I did.
Gotcha.
I mean,
I am
have
working.
to say,
Oh, go ahead.
I have to say, this gradient.
Oh, I love that gradient.
Yeah, the gradient looks really good.
It's really pretty.
Yes.
That's the Scipius yarn?
Yes.
Like color changing yarn? Yeah.
Yes. Secret Garden variety, I think, was the.
They have some
was-
really pretty colors, especially with the long color changing yarns.
Yes, and I have the unfortunate, or rather, it's sort of a double-edged sword thing, where one of the biggest yarn retailers is in the country is situated like a 5-minute walk away from me. So it's like I live in abject terror for my wallet every day of the year.
I would be terrified too. How do you resist
Bree, you
that
were
temptation?
saying.
Oh, well, I'm going to say something else now. Fun, bookish baby Bree confession. When I was 7, I lost a tooth, and my mom got me this dress that was like a skirt and then like the skirt tied on the side. And I spent the next like 7 months running around pretending that I was the girl from A Little Princess because I love Frances Hodgson Burnett. And I was in love with the movie. And I don't think I have gotten like a dress that made me that excited since.
I mean, I used to, like, when I was a little kid, I loved the flouncy skirts, you know. So like, and every like Disney movie and every like or like movie about princesses in general always has that at least one scene where the person is twirling around and the skirt is flouncing around.
Yep.
And I love that so much. Probably why I love Lolita fashion too. Because it's like, let me live my princess fantasy.
Has anyone here seen Bella May's final recreation of the Cinderella dress?
No.
No.
I don't know if she's really part of like costume YouTube, but kind of in there. There's the really pretty, extremely poofy blue Cinderella dress from a movie a couple of years ago, and she's made like 5 versions, and she did an entire series where she did like the best version ever. It is
what was this?
I
was gonna say something has been showing me a Cinderella dress in my YouTube feed.
It may very well be that one.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Bella May Designs, I think. Like seriously, if you love the beautiful swishy dresses with the petticoats and the crinoline and everything, like her recreation was amazing. Like I'm not really into that super feminine style, but just going through the whole process of like what went into making it so swishy and flouncy but incredibly light. It's so cool.
Yes.
I can't highlight it, but I see Becca's comment about the puff sleeves with Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And, my sister, if she, I doubt she'll ever watch this, but but if in the off chance she does, she'll probably get upset that I'm sharing this. But when she was like 5 or 6, really wanted a dress with puffy sleeves that had gold stars on it, and so my mom made it for her as a surprise.
That's awesome.
I think that's the sweetest
so
thing
cute.
that I've ever heard. Oh my gosh. I am working on a Love Note sweater. Contrary to how I have always done my top-down sweaters, I decided to go to Sleeve Island before I went to Body Island.
So smart,
and
though. You won't get
I
stuck
think
on
I like it better. I think I like it a lot better.
Yeah. I've had a lot of trouble with necklines, and what I've learned recently is that knitting the sleeves first and then doing your neckline is really good for getting a better neckline fit.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
'cause it's the
worth
weight of
it
the
to do the
sleeves.
sleeves first before you knit much more on the body. Yeah. So what is the yarn that you're using for that? I saw your pictures on Instagram and I wondered.
Oh, this is the Yarn Bee Rustic Romantic. So that's yeah. And I'm really actually loving the fabric. It's an acrylic hemp blend, and it like feels really
Hemp?
nice. Yeah, I know.
Unusual.
And Chris is saying that she's seen a few people doing the Love Note recently. It's because Grocery Girls podcast decided to do an impromptu Love Note knit along. And I have never done one. So I decided after listening to them talk about it for like 2 years that I was just going to finally do it.
You see Love Note sweaters everywhere.
Everybody seems to love knitting them.
It's like Love Notes and ranunculus. And I mean, all of us have gone through the ranunculus obsession.
I still haven't finished mine, so.
So the Love Note sweater, so Andrea is asking what that means, the style Love Note. So that's the name of the design, and it is a top-down sweater, which means that you start at the top and you go downwards towards the body, and you kind of like put the arms on what you call on hold. And so you finish the body first, and then you come back and do the sleeves. But I have decided to do the sleeves first and then go back and finish the body.
Is the pattern on Ravelry? Because if it is, we could always share the screen and just show it like what it looks like.
It is.
So Love Note is actually a tin can knits pattern. And
Yep.
for anybody who's getting
doing.
into knitting, especially like if you want to start knitting garments, tin can knits is amazing.
Yeah,
They
their patterns
have an
are
entire
super clear.
series of like free patterns that are designed for beginning knitters, like your first sweater, I think your first hat, your first socks, all these sorts of things, and they are free.
And incredibly clear, like very understandable.
The flax sweater is one of those as well. Yeah.
Except as I was discussing with Rachel, I'm not great at reading these patterns because this is the second time where I've had to frog part of what I've been working on, but that's not their fault. Like I said, it's just how I read patterns that messes me up.
Yeah, let me see if I can pop the link to Love Note into.
We should start here. I also can, if I can grab it. Oh, Ravelry. Of course I should be logged in constantly.
Wait, chain free join with single stitch to.
I think someday I'll probably make like a Love Note tee because it's so like lightweight and lacy. I think it would be good as like a spring kind of thing rather than the full-on sweater. Kind of like the way I did my ranunculus as well.
Chain 3 join with single crochet to chain what?
I was going to say, so right now they're doing a big push online to support Ukrainian pattern designers if you use Ravelry. And I think one of them was an Anne of Green Gables amigurumi pattern.
Ooh.
I'm interested in amigurumis.
I'm sorry?
I'm always interested in amigurumis.
I know you are. I thought of you when I saw it.
I'll have to send that to my mom because I don't really make them, but she does every now and then, and she's the Maritimer and so is very fond of Anne.
Also, since we are like, I don't mean to be a spoil sport or anything, or go on a huge tangent on this, but since Bree mentioned Ukraine, I thought that I would just express a little bit of a like, because there's been a lot of like Russophobia online recently because of obvious reasons. So I was just, like to emphasize that when you are talking about this war that's happening, please remember that individual citizens of countries are not responsible for their government's actions, and do not take it out on people who are just trying to live their lives normally. I'm sure none of our viewers would do that, but just a general sentiment it's important to always say.
Yes.
Yes.
That being said, if you are interested in looking up some Ukrainian designers, it's really easy. They're posted to the homepage of Ravelry right now as like a click to the links.
Yep.
That made no sense. A link to a list of patterns. That makes more sense.
There was also a very interesting like supporting Ukraine Humble Bundle for a lot of really cool games. So if you want to, like, I can actually see if I can link it to the private chat so Rachel can link it.
Yeah, I'll put it in there.
In general, there's a bunch of really cool Humble Bundles right now. There's one for there's the charity, like Humble Bundle is basically you can get DRM free like software, books, games, and such, and part of the proceeds always go to charity. And you can like designate how much of your contribution goes to, for example, the developer or author, and how much goes to the charity, etc. But there's a bunch of good ones right now. For example, there is also the manga bundle for Kodansha manga, where you can, for example, get the first 3 volumes of, like, basically you can pay like 36 euros and get at least like almost $1,000 worth of manga.
Holy cow!
That's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm just gonna pop those in the thing.
Humble bundles are always such good deals, but they can wreak havoc on your TBR.
I know. I know.
Okay, I have finally figured out my drop stitch mistake. So what I am working on is this. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this is the beginning of the Daydreamer sweater by Andrea Mowry. This is a bottom-up sweater. So Bree is working on a top-down one where you start with the neckline. This is done by working the hem and then working upwards to the arms and everything. This is going to be my beast of a project for this year, probably, because I didn't realize this when I started knitting it, but half of this sweater is just 1x1 cables.
Oh.
Every other row is nothing but 1x1 cables.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
The honeycomb stitch, which is this one right here, that's nothing but 1/1 cables. And then the kind of the bobble section is framed in 1/1 twisted stitch cables. So it takes a while. It's actually not that difficult to knit, but if you've ever done a lot of knitting of cables, especially at a small or a tight gauge, it gets to your hands so much, especially if you're a tighter knitter and you're holding, the needles pretty tightly. So I can do about 4 to 6 rows on this per day.
So what type of do you prefer? Like, do you prefer doing it top down or like from bottom to top?
I don't really have a preference now. I found bottom up really scary at first because I didn't quite understand how the fit worked. But now that I've done it a couple of times, it doesn't really matter.
I prefer being able
I'm just
to
intimidated
try
by
on.
all sorts of sweaters, to be honest.
Oh, if you can make socks, you can make a sweater.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I prefer to do the top down because I like to be able to try it on as I go.
Mhm. Although, to be
But
honest,
I also, yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I also am a sucker for color work yoke, and which is where
Ooh.
you have the color work right here. And so that those constructions are almost always top down.
There are bottom up colorwork sweaters, though. I've come across them. They're not very common, but they are out there. The thing that I don't like is basically a raglan style sweater from the bottom up where you attach the sleeves and then you do the raglan shaping with decreases. If anyone's ever done that, when you the like first 2 inches after you attach the sleeves, if you're using like 5-inch needle tips on your circulars, it's so tight. And I've never seen a pattern address that before. But I've done this twice, and it's really difficult to get around the sleeve circumferences for quite a while once you attach them that way. But yeah. Anyway. And yes, Chris, 1x1 cables is you're crisscrossing one stitch over another stitch constantly for 260 stitches in a round.
Oh, thank heavens.
And you're tiny, right? Like
Yes.
to do that in my size would be like twice
Hell.
that much.
Yeah.
No.
Though I'll say, like, in fairness, I think that I'm actually knitting this more tightly. Like, my gauge is tighter than it's supposed to be, and I'm knitting the smallest size, but it's designed with a ton of positive ease, and I like the way that it looks. So I know that, like, I'm cabling, even though they're really tiny cables, so the fabric is going to loosen up a lot when I block it. So I'm kind of scared to go up a needle size because of that. Anyway, that is what I'm working on right now, and it's going to take me quite a while.
I am desperately trying to finish this by next weekend because my mom is coming over, and this was supposed to be her Christmas present. So, and
Mother's Day present now?
yeah, well, Mother's Day is still a while away, but like, it's gonna be a present.
You say it's a while away, but it sneaks up on you, and
that is true as well.
It's also hard for me because my mom's birthdays are a week apart in May, and sometimes Mother's Day is like the day before the first one, or sometimes it's like right in the middle. And so I have 3 presents I need to plan for that 1 week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not yawning because I'm bored. I'm yawning because little guy got up at 6 this morning and then refused to take a nap until like.
Yeah, I figure you're yawning because you're still your child is less than a year old and all that.
Yes. I am yawning just on the regular without any good excuse, like having a toddler that I need to appease.
Okay, I felt a little self-conscious because I realized I've been doing that for like I think I've yawned like 4 times. I'm sorry.
I mean, speaking of toddlers, my sister sent me this really cute video of my nephew where they put my nephew into a shopping bag, and then my mom would like throw it around like this, and my nephew would sit in it and like hold on to the like straps, and it's like a hammock, but it's shopping bag, and he was so happy. He was like laughing and then was like faster, and my mom would like go like this, throw him around, and I was like, That's so stupid, but I love you.
Stupid, but fun and effective.
He also now knows so many car words. Like he used to like only know how to say car, but now he knows all the like car parts and different cars. And he always wants to inspect other people's cars. And like there was this time like we were I was last weekend I was at my mom's, and like she told me, okay, we were at this like parking lot, and my nephew was like, okay, there was this like huge Mercedes, and he was like, I want to go and see it, I need to see this Mercedes. And my mom is like, no, we're not going to the like check out strangers' cars, we're going to my car, and let's go. And he had just like, mind you, he's not 3 years old yet, he's like 2.5, and he looked at my mom's car and he was like, yes, let's go home with grandma's tiny car. He's such a cutie pie.
Oh my gosh. Kids say things. Oh, all right. Before we move on to book stuff, I wanted to show you guys my yarn.
Yes.
I spent all of yesterday plying yarn, and I just need to share it. So I'm going to do that.
Oh my god.
Yarn.
Is this
And
your new spinning
more
project?
yarn.
It looks
Rachel,
so
it looks
pretty.
so good.
I'm hoping it's about 900 yards. Well, I haven't washed it and measured it yet, but yes.
Is this have you spun this yourself?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
So, this is actually going to be for another Andrea Mowry sweater pattern. So this is I mixed like 3 different colors of fiber together I was trying to make a like color changing variegated yarn, and get enough yardage out of it. It's got really long color repeats in it. Probably too long for striping on a sweater the way I want it to be. We're gonna find out though. I'm kind of committed now because I'm not gonna start over with different fiber, but
Is that going to be for the metamorphic?
Yes.
Okay.
And I haven't done so this is the contrast color.
Yeah.
And you stripe it with, so there are 2 colors in it. There's like a kind of a solid main color, and then you have a like variegated color for the other stripes. And I think I'm just going to do dark gray for the main color. But I haven't ordered the fiber for it yet, so I might be a little bit spun out. I might have to take a break because I did all of this over like 3 weeks, and like I need to use my spinning wheel for something else that isn't quite so big.
You should tell me when you're casting on.
I will.
I have Spin Cycle in one of their deeper blues, and I'm also thinking about using a gray for the same sweater pattern. And I'm not committing to the gray yet because I also think a really, really deep like midnight blue might be pretty with it. But
yes, yeah. I was looking at other people's projects for it, and some of the more striking ones are ones that don't use like black or gray for that main color. They go for something else kind of unusual. I'm basic though, and I don't understand matching colors, so it's safer to go with gray. Gray goes with everything.
But I think you are like, when I think of colors that I associate specifically with you, I think of like deep burgundy reds and then like a grayish purple tones, like those, like, and maybe like a rust color. I think it's just because it goes so well with your like hair and complexion. It's just like a killer combination. Like,
yes. Has anyone else done those like season like color tests for like what you look good in? I'm the warm autumn. So basically dark jewel tones is what I look best in.
No.
I
Sorry.
am hopeless. I'm probably a green spring goblin or something, because like my face has like red tones but also like yellowish green tones, which should not exist in the same face. So it makes like finding colors that actually suit me incredibly hard.
You could also just like suit a lot of different colors then. Some people are,
Mhm.
you know, cool and warm tones. Yeah.
I mean, I have noticed that like well, black is obviously something that is like very easy for me, but also green and purple. I know a lot of people hate the Riddler Joker color combo, but for me that's my favorite color combo, probably because it works and I don't look like a trash goblin when I wear those colors.
Oh.
Okay.
And yes, Chris, a deep green. I am planning to do more green garments in the future. So I did make the really dark forest green poofy sweater, the Augustine's pattern I did months ago, and it's like a fashion statement piece. I can't actually wear it anywhere because I made the sleeves so poofy. I was like, I can wear it when I'm doing absolutely nothing, but yeah.
I kind of want to make that sweater as well because the pattern looks so cute, but I don't necessarily want to make it for myself. But I need to find someone in my life who is dainty enough that they could pull it off.
And wants ruffles and a peplum
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I just made a Luminen sweater, which is like an oversized, super bulky weight sweater. It knits up so fast. But I don't think it would look flattering on me. Fortunately, I have a very, very petite sister-in-law who just like, I was like, can I knit you a thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna
All
move it.
right. What is everybody reading?
Webtoons. Okay, can I go first? Because
Yes.
like remember last month when I talked about that that webtoon slash web novel that I had been reading, that I had exhausted all the legal pathways to consume the story?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? Now the official English translation of the web novel has been released. Like the first 2 parts of the first season are up in Amazon Kindle. So I did the thing. I bought them. I put them through Calibre and DDRM everything and put them in my Kobo. Yeah. So I read those in like 2 days.
So how many pages was that? Like,
Well, like standard, like font, like 203 pages per part, so 406 pages
and how many
in the
parts
span of 3 days. And I had already read it in the fan translation. I'm kind of obsessed. It's just such a feel-good series. Like it's like I don't know what it is. I know rationally that it isn't perfect, and I know rationally that it isn't like the height of great literature, but like I'm it's just like crack for me specifically. I just love it.
What matters is that it's fun and that you enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the main couple has this thing where that whenever they are in conflict, they kind of resolve the conflict by shacking up, you know, which is sometimes kind of like, I wish you could talk about these things first, because like you need to work on those issues, you know, like you can't just shut everything up by, you know, with a shag. The problem still persists there somewhere, but you know, I'm also not averse to reading smut every once in a while, so you know, it's but also I just like it does that thing where the main character, like, you know how sometimes you have that romance trope where you have the plain heroine who is actually really beautiful, but it's like, I'm so plain. I have brown, luscious, thick hair and brown eyes, and my skin is glowing, but oh my god, nobody can find me attractive. This does that as well, but it is actually kind of coming from the main characters. Like, it is only her perception of herself, and is coming from a place of trauma because of the way she has been raised and isolated and abused. So she kind of has sort of projected other people, like her abuser's view of how he views her. She has sort of projected that onto herself as well. So the whole story is kind of her coming out of that and seeing value in herself and also growing. So and growing like in her own identity. And that's so fun. Like, it doesn't do it perfectly. Like, it has to, like, it is examining those most toxic tropes in romance. It doesn't always execute it perfectly, but I just find it I'm so happy that it's at least trying. Like, at least there's something.
Some thought has gone into it, and it's not just using the tropes for the heck of it. It's examining them. Yeah. Good.
Also, I have been reading the Book of Oboi, or Oboinkirja, which is a Finnish. I don't even know how to describe it, because it's kind of like post-apocalyptic futuristic sci-fi, but also has magical and fantastical elements. And I don't know, is it targeted towards adults, or is it middle grade? Is it young adult? The main character is like 13 years old, but it talks about things like kill camps. I'm so confused. Like, who is this book written for? But I have been like I have no idea about the genre or the demographic right now. I have read like 35% of it so far, and I'm still like, I'm enjoying the ride, but I have no idea what it's happening.
Like, is it a good story? Is it still engrossing? I mean,
it has, like, I'm not sure if the story itself is key. Like, there are elements of the story that I like for example, there is this character, there's this girl in the story who literally freezes whenever someone brings up a topic that is triggering to her and like is kind of encroaching on a trauma that she has had. And because she has closed off those memories, she freezes up, literally. Like, she actually like fully freezes up in ice. And that is kind of like a metaphoric thing, but it's also kind of magical. It's not it's not a scientific thing, but it has those kinds of stuff that it does, which I find to be really interesting. But at the same time, it's like, okay, there are these elements that I like, but on the other hand, I'm not sure if I'm actually enjoying it or if I'm just reading it because there's cool ideas.
I mean, at a certain point, you become so confused about what it is that it's difficult to enjoy it, even if you like the elements of it. Yeah. It feels almost like literal magical realism in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of like fabulism meets Finnish weird. Which
that could be very weird.
Yeah,
it's odd, but I'm like, it's like, I want to finish it because it's a Finnish book, and I try to prioritize this year that if I start a Finnish book, I try to finish it, even if I'm like, if I need to be actively not enjoying it to not finish it. The other thing that I'm reading is Love After the End, which is for my book club, the Shorts and Sorcery book club. It's an anthology by Indigenous, queer, and Two-Spirit authors. It's edited by Joshua Whitehead, and I've been enjoying it so far. I'm almost to the end, and I just need to write up my thoughts on the Goodreads group, because part of the discussion in a book club should be that I actually discuss the book, but I just keep reading the stories and then I forget to type up my comments. And then the next book that I'm planning to pick up is this one, which is The Waltz of the Dead by Marko Hautala. It's a new Finnish release. It's basically a horror anthology.
Oh.
Why do I know that name? I know the author's name.
Marko Hautala is like the most known Finnish horror writer right now that is currently writing.
Okay.
So he might have some stories that have been translated into English.
Okay.
I don't know. This will be the first book of him that I have read. I got suckered in by the cover. Like, how can you not? How can you not?
Oh god, they really do have skulls for faces.
Yes. Yes. But yeah, that's it for me for now.
I have not really been reading because Horizon Forbidden West came out last month, and in the month since it's came out, I have actually played it twice. It is a big game. But now
No
that
spoilers, I'm still in plain song.
Oh no, I'm not going to spoil anything. But like since I've been I've been focusing on that, I haven't done a lot of reading. But I'm hoping now that I've finished my 2 playthroughs, one of just like the hyper focus of like getting through the story and seeing what's there, and the second one, which was more of like doing all the side quests, seeing what's there. I'm going to try and read more, but I did finish 2 books last week for the Magical Readathon Gear Up. The first was Penrick and the Fox by Babel. I listened to that one on audio, even though I had the physical book checked out from the library just because I had to do chores. And I'm like, this is short. I can do this as like read a book in 4 fewer sittings. And yeah, I just listened to it and I liked it. I've enjoyed how the last couple of Penrick books have been like murder mysteries, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I continue to love Desdemona. She's my favorite. And I like that Penrick is kind of a little chaos goblin, but different than Miles.
Yes. Can I tell you my horrible Penrick hot take, though?
What?
I'm ready for us to look at other people in this world now.
I haven't gotten that far, so I'm still not super. I also have Curse of Chalion checked out in the library, so that's also on my TBR. And then the other book I read, which I actually read in 2 sittings, very surprising because I haven't like been in the mood to read big books recently, was Unconquerable Sun by Kate Elliott. And that one I liked too. I read it. I found the first like 80 to 100 pages kind of slow, but I ended up just racing through the rest of the book, and I really liked it. I'm very interested to see what happens in the sequel.
I think I had a very similar reaction to it. Now I'm thinking back to it. It's a little bit difficult to get into it because like there's so much thrown at you at the beginning, so many characters, so much world building, and it's not being like spoon fed to you either. So yeah.
Yes, I'm very interested to see what happens in book 2, especially now that initial world building is out of the way.
Yeah. The second book is coming out later this year, I think. Or did it get pushed off?
I'm still seeing an August 2020 release for the UK version, but I haven't seen anything for the US release. But yeah, and then in terms of what's next, I think I'm going to try and finally finish The Wolf and the Woodsman because I had started it and paused it and I want to get back to it. And then I think I'm also going to restart Velvet Was the Night because I had started it last year, didn't get very far, and I just wasn't in the mood for a noir book, so I put it down. And then last week, Leia pulled out my bookmark and I lost my place. So I'm interpreting that as a sign from the universe just to restart the book.
Leia knows. Leia knows what you really need.
No, Leia is a little chaos gremlin.
I'm actually reading Velvet is the Night right now.
Are you enjoying it? I hear a lot of mixed things from people because I feel like a lot of people I know like the SFF from Silvia Moreno Garcia. So, you know.
Yeah, I really like Silvia Moreno Garcia.
Yeah. Even the things by her that I haven't loved as much, they've all been so different from each other. So Yeah.
Yeah, she's very
who did like
versatile.
Velvet Was the Night? Shannon really liked it. I did not. But
I just find her to be like really interesting in terms of like sheer versatility. Like she just takes any genre head on and is like, well, you know, I can write this.
yes. Yes.
And like your mileage may vary on whether you like the stuff or not, but like she's good.
Yeah. The other thing that I have queued up is Winter Keep by Kirsten Shore.
I loved that one. It's
So good.
That one because I did buy a physical copy in paperback. Because
Okay.
I've decided to just keep buying paperback for this series because that's what I have everything in. And I reread the end and it still makes me tear up a little. It's so good.
That's good to hear. I'm excited. Kelsey over at Fancy Hat Lady Reads was talking about it, and I was like, okay, you convinced me. You twisted my arm.
I'm really excited for the next book that's coming out in November, I think.
I am
Yeah, I
shocked
think that's
that another
right.
one is coming out so soon. I mean, wow.
Yeah, especially because there was such a large gap between Bitter
Fuck.
and Winter Keep.
Sorry. I have to redo stuff.
Leia. Yeah, it's my little chaos gremlin.
Hi, Kelsey.
Hi, Kelsey. Speak of the devil.
We were just talking about you.
I'm very excited for you to get to Winter Keep. I think I'm very fond of Bitter Blue because it does one of the things I love in fiction, and which is exploring like how does society recover from an intensely traumatic event. But I think Winter Keep is my favorite just because I think the character work is better.
Interesting. I'll have to keep that in mind.
I don't know what your opinion is on this, Rachel, because I know you've also read it.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that much about the first 3 books in the Gracelink series. I read them, back when they were coming out. I read them when they were brand spanking new, and I've kind of avoided rereading them because I'm not so sure that they've aged as well as I would like them to, coming from that era of YA.
Yeah. So here, I haven't reread Graceling or Fire recently, but I think Bitter Blue was such a step up in terms of not, like I said, it's not with Katsa, she, is graced with surviving, and with Fire, it's kind of deconstructing the too beautiful to live trope. But I think Bitter Blue just does such a good job of okay, so in book 1, we overthrew this king who was a monster. How does society recover? Which
I remember thinking that Bitter Blue and then Winter Keep both had entered into new territory in the world, this darker, more psychological thing that wasn't as typical YA fantasy. And I think it's pretty much what you just said as well. So I've always felt like Kristen Kashore's character work was really good. And that she chose to write about some things that other authors might find to be kind of taboo in young adult literature. But she does it very well. So
yeah.
Okay. I managed to fix my error.
Yay. What am I reading? Well, I should probably be reading Shockwave Rider with Joe right now, and sorry, Joe.
Wait until we get to the pop culture part, because Joe and I have some plans for you, Rachel.
Oh, really? I look forward to hearing about this. Yeah, so I've been trying to do the TBR jar thing this year, just to kind of mix up how I'm pulling things off of my shelves and everything. And it's actually been very fun. But in March, I haven't read a single page out of any book that has come out of my TBR jar. And one of them was the Shockwave Rider. And Joe was like, I'll read it with you to give you motivation. And then I just completely blazed on past and picked up other books instead. And big books, like, okay, it's really weird. Like, I haven't been in the mood for really big, chunky books in probably years. I don't know why. But this year I've been like, I'm gonna read all the super long things. And so I finally picked up another Neil Stephenson novel. I got Termination Shock. And realized I haven't read anything by Stevenson probably since
70s?
Dio or maybe Quicksilver, and those would have been like 2017. So it's been like 4 or 5 years since I have read a Stevenson novel.
You'll have to tell me if it does the Stevenson thing of like halfway through becoming an entirely different novel. And
I
then,
know,
like,
I'm expecting it
lose
to.
it.
I mean, I sat down to just like read the first, 20 pages and see if I cared about it right now. And it was like, oh yeah, this is why I read so many big chunky Stevenson novels back in the day, because they just suck you in with like his nerdy info dumping. And the opening scene of this particular book is the Queen of the Netherlands is piloting her own airplane. They have to divert to Waco, Texas to land because it's too hot in Atlanta. It's a environmental ecological disaster novel. Only when they begin to land on the runway at Waco, a group of gigantic feral hogs breaks through the barrier fence, and their plane crashes because the wheels hit the feral hogs. And then as they're getting out of the plane, this feral hog hunter shows up because he's got a vendetta with the monster hog. And then his buddy is there chasing a meth addicted gigantic gator.
So like, is this, so what I'm hearing is that this is Neil Stephenson's response to the 30 to 50 feral hogs.
I read this opening scene and I was like, this right here dates exactly when Stevenson started writing this novel.
Well, that was such a wild day on Twitter.
It was one of Twitter's shining light days.
That in the day, like, I remember that the dress argument and then the llamas escaping and leading the chase the same day.
Yes, not just memes, but the entire book is going to be about feral hog genetics and scientists going after large gators and stuff. That's what Stevenson does.
Okay, I might have to do
and I'm
this.
sure
Hold on.
I mean, this is like a 720 page novel, guys. That's only the first 50 pages.
Oh my god.
What? By the way, I'll have you know that I laid a trap for the cats by putting kibbles into the cups, because I was the only person without a cat presence here. So I'm trying to lure them in. The first victim has arrived. Okay.
I'm surprised that Luke has not made an on-camera appearance today. He's being a little cagey. He does not want to be perceived.
Oh, we still have time though.
We'll see.
So Termination Shock is my main read right now because it's just going to be crazy.
No, I'm literally
really long,
downloading
just
this right now.
Bonkers. I've also recently been on like a DNFing kick, and like I don't talk about a lot of books that I DNF because I don't do it that much and they're relatively inconsequential. But I've been on this streak of like starting audiobooks and then being like, no. So like I DNF'd The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, which I didn't even realize was like TikTok famous until I started looking it up, being like, what is this book? So I got one of the arcs from Libro FM and I DNF'd that because it was just entitled Teenagers with Magic Complaining About Each Other, and apparently the rest of the novel is how they're all trying to sleep with each other or something. And I'm like, I was promised Alexandrian librarian ventures, okay? Not this like
I'm so that one is the first Fairy Loot adult book, and
really?
I've subscribed to it, so I'm very
it's adult?
Yeah, it's an
How
adult.
about new adult? it just read like a bunch of high schoolers with too much privilege. I mean, so
I'll be very interested to see how I react to it because I have been avoiding a lot of TikTok famous books.
yeah, I would never have picked it if I had known that, but I was intrigued by the blurb. So yeah, I DNF'd that, and it'll be interesting to see what other people think. It's also like, what is it about this whole dark academia genre where that just means that all the characters are super unlikable and backbiting? And I'm like, can we have dark academia vibes without that?
Because unfortunately, like, that's just kind of how academia. I mean, not my specific area, but like when you're competing for grants and shit, and there's
also.
Why can't you just have like an adult academic librarian at some university somewhere who has dark gothic adventures or something, and it isn't all about like
because they're probably fighting administration for more collections budget, so they can stop trying.
I would read about that kind of dark academia where they're all fighting for grants and stuff.
If they were literally fighting for grants and not just wondering how to sleep with each other and backstab at the same time, then that would be fun.
I will say, in terms of like academia stuff, I'm still so annoyed that with the love hypothesis, because they're like to love her, like that type of thing, but she's a grad student. I'm like, you can totally have that with her not being a grad student. You could have that with her being like a research assistant who is like trying to find it.
Yeah,
I like that book though.
Speaking of academia and enemies to lovers, I have recently read Semantic Error Season 1, which is a very nice webcomic about basically these two university students who had to work together on the same project for a course. And it was the last mandatory course for this other student to graduate. And because he kind of felt like he would coast and not actually do anything, so he went on a holiday and stuff and let the other group person to do the stuff. So
that is straight up, I would murder someone if they did that.
Yeah. And the thing that happens is that the other protagonist is like, no, you're not gonna coast on my efforts. So he rats every single member of the group to the professor, gets them a failing grade, and just presents the whole topic by himself, where he has credited every single portion with his own name that the other people would have. And that's the basis of them being enemies, is because he basically makes it so that this guy can't graduate, that he has to take an extra year in university. And that's the start. And it's kind of that thing where it's enough of a thing where I can understand that you'd be super mad, like at someone, like you'd be super mad at someone that they tried to like use your efforts to coast the course, but also you'd be super mad at someone for like actively making it so that you can graduate, especially if you just had a one course that was preventing you from graduating. But it's also tame enough that you can understand that they can like work it through. And it's such a good webcomic, seriously recommended. Like, it talks about things like consent and stuff which is very, very rare in East Asian boys love comics. It does not happen. So it's like a fresh... Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, give us the link.
I mean, I'm not sure if I can link it because, but yeah, it's...
my question to Becca though is the dark part of dark academia, does it have to be backstabbing? Do I like fundamentally misunderstand what this is supposed to be? I mean, my introduction to dark academia was basically like just the aesthetic, like the clothes. So
I put it in the private chat. Basically, like the link that I gave, that's the official English translation that you can read. I've been reading it through Manta app, which is basically kind of like a Netflix for webcomics. You pay like $3.99 per month, and you get unlimited access to their whole catalog.
So my understanding of dark academia as like where the aesthetic came from was like is that it's actually like a lot more prep school like influence than you think, which does have that like it's all elitist, backstabby. Like it's not what I want it to be, which is just vaguely goth librarians all hanging out and knitting.
I think Glenn would like that too.
Yeah,
I would like that too.
Yeah, I think okay. So going back to academia, enemies to lovers, and this may be because I work at a D1 university, but I would love for it to be like a professor in an underfunded department, like humanities or art, having to work with someone in the athletics department. A D1, like that's the perfect setup. That's the perfect setup, and it would work as enemies to lovers because you have people being like, why the hell are we spending so much money demolishing part of our football stadium during the first week of term when we can't even get good insulation on these buildings?
When I'm stuck in the top of a 4th floor attic room and like there's no AC and we're rocking a boiler system from 1965.
Exactly. Like it's the perfect setup. And you don't have that like weird power differential, and like you can get into like the different politics of academia and the fact that like how, again, maybe because I'm working at a D1 university, how it feels like a lot of things are kind of like how sports at times feels like it's elevated above our mission.
Elise is saying she thought it was just psychological, like is it cults or is it ghosts? And I think that that's maybe from whatever that Lee Bardugo Yale one was.
Oh yeah,
which by the way was very. I like a lot of Lee Bardugo stuff, and that was not.
Here's
not
the thing.
it.
I
actually liked that one weirdly enough, and it might be because I've gone to Northeast for school. I don't know. That one worked for me in a way that it didn't
Ninth
work.
House?
Yeah.
Ninth House?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
I'm
one
also just maybe really over the idea of like, look at this secret club at this high prestigious university, something rich white boys. You know, just meh.
I mean, everyone seems to love Lee Bardugo, but so far I have lukewarmly liked 2 things that she's written, and
I really
other
like.
than that, I'm just.
I really liked 6 of Crows. I had started Shadow and Bone, and I got to the part where the Darkling kisses Alina, and I'm like, I know it's not going to work out, and I know like she kills him. I could not. I like put it down and haven't picked it back up just because I'm like, you're old as balls, dude, and she's a teenager.
I think Kat has a good point with Dark Academia and Thinking the Historian, which, by the way, was a high school favorite of mine. Which maybe
actually it's on my reading list recently. I was like, my mom really liked it.
I really liked it.
Has recommended it to me, so
I have to say, I am very much looking forward to Babel by R.F. Kuang.
Yeah,
really good. I am very excited about it. So if anyone wants to buddy read it when it comes out, I will be up for it.
I would be down for that. I'm a little bit leery in the sense that I read the first book in her fantasy series,
and it was real dark and heavy, and
it was way too grim dark for me. I do not want to read that much about war atrocities. But Babel, if Babel is like more like modern day-ish academic hijinks or something
in the early 1800s.
Okay. I'd be interested in reading. We haven't done like an actual read along in a long time.
Yeah, I think our last one was Bro Wolf.
Yeah, Bro Wolf.
Our last one was Bro Wolf.
Which I said I really enjoyed.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Bro Wolf was really good.
So when is Babel coming out?
It's coming out in August, I think.
right at the start of new semester.
Yep, August 23rd. Oh my lord, it's 704 pages.
It's a chunker.
I mean, we can take all autumn to read it.
Yeah, we could do it over like 2 or 3 months.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know what it was about Ninth House that worked for me when it didn't work for others. And I think it's because, and it might just be because I went to college in the Northeast as someone who came, like, not this, like, as poor as Alex Stern was, but as someone who was, like, solidly middle class, went to public school all throughout, like, my education. And then I got to Smith. And there's, like, a number of girls who like went to private schools and whose parents are fairly wealthy and whose family have like gone to Smith for generations. And like, it's not as bad as Yale in terms of that, but like, there's still that oh, it's a baby.
You trapped a cat.
Yes, my trap worked. He came through kibbles and he got a lap dance. What is it called when you take a cat into your lap? Like
a snuggle. We're just
A
gonna go
snuggle.
with a snuggle. A lap dance is not the
Yeah, no, lap dance is something very, very different.
I will always be able to use the excuse English is not my first language, okay?
Like, give me my yarn. But yeah, I don't know. I think it just, like I said, it worked for me in a way. I think, and again, because I also, my grandfather had taught at Yale for a couple of years, and like my grandma more than him will tell stories of like the culture shock that she had moving they had mostly lived in like Arizona and Southern California. And again, they were not wealthy. My grandfather was the first person in his family to go to college, and like moving out east, and literally when they moved to the New Haven area, someone asked, "Oh, so nice to meet you. You're not Puerto Rican, are you?" "No, we're Mexican." "Okay, that's fine, as long as you're not Puerto Rican." So it's like I have like those stories and those experiences. And so I think like some of what Alex was going through and like how she was describing Yale, like just resonated with me in a way where I don't think it did with other people.
Yeah, sure. I could see that.
Yeah, Yale is a very interesting place.
Yeah, the whole old money thing is.
Oh yeah, like my dad and his siblings will talk about the time they went to the Harvard Yale game, and they're like, we've never seen so many people wearing jewels to a football game.
No!
What?
I broke it.
No.
Can you felt it together? Is it wool or is it?
I can felt it together. I just need to find my tools. Oh no. Oh no.
It can be saved. Don't worry.
So yeah, I actually am looking forward to the sequel for Ninth House whenever it's coming out.
Oh,
Is that still on the docket? It's been a long
on
time.
the docket. She's working on it.
Okay.
I was talking about what I was reading, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Or what I was doing nothing.
Sorry, we kind of.
No, that was a
We're off
very
the rails.
interesting tangent. That was the more interesting of my DNFs. I also DNF'd The Death of Vivek Oji by Akweke Emezi. Good book, but unbearably sad in the mood that I've been in recently. I just couldn't take it. So it is literally about the death of the main character. So my next book I'll read by Akweke Emezi will be bitter and hopefully not as much of a tearjerker. And then I also DNF'd The Lost Dreamer by Liz Huerta, which I think is a newer YA fantasy.
Yeah, I think I have that on hold from the library.
I think that one may just not have worked as much for me because it is YA. It's also a a debut. And the reason why I decided not to continue with it is I just felt like the writing was very da 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 da, and it just could not keep my interest because of that. But I picked it up because it's like Mesoamerican inspired fantasy, and I keep looking for fantasy like that that'll really work for me. So
Which reminds me, Fevered Star, Rachel.
I know I have it pre-ordered.
So should we continue the buddy reading tradition since we did the first one?
Yes, we should. I'm really looking forward to that one.
I am too. I have
especially after what happened with the ending of the last one. I'm like, feed it to my eyeballs. Thank you very much. And I have to say about the Sheepius yarn that it is very finicky because it tends to like to get all tangled and bundled up. And then when I was trying to like loosen out the knots, I accidentally broke it.
Is that one that's kind of like a single ply?
Yeah.
That would be why.
Well, I got it. I felted it together. So.
Speaking of reading, Magical Readathon next month.
I'm not prepared.
I have already decided not to do it because work is killing me. So
yeah, that's like the only reason I'm considering not doing it. Like I was going to, but I just felt like I might have too much on my plate.
Yeah.
So that's fair.
Ooh. How did she retheme it? Because I've been waiting to. I haven't looked into it yet.
It's like an entirely 100% brand new fantasy world of her own invention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's just completely ditched the other Harry Potter, and like last year she debuted the new secondary world and did like kind of a introduction to it with the novice path. Mm-hmm. Although I think she took down the character creation stuff because I haven't been able to find it.
I wonder if it's getting a revamp.
I'm wondering if it's getting a revamp. But she's doing kind of like a gear up. So it's just like a week. It just finished. It's like a week-long readathon where you choose 2 books. Like one is your conduit and one is your legacy. Like what you get from the order that you're in. And so that's why I read the Penrix Fox and Unconquerable Sun.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm very interested to see like what the main body of the readathon is going to look like.
Yeah. Was there already an announcement video, or was that just for the week long?
The week long, but I saw it was either. I think I saw on Twitter that she's going to be doing the announcement video soon.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably wait and see what that is before I decide whether I'm going to do it or not. Mm-hmm. My problem is that with readathons like that, I tend to like want to go whole hog on it, and that's like I have a difficult time just restraining myself for like the bare minimum.
Yeah,
same.
I liked with this week-long one that it was just like you choose 2 things, and a lot of them like one of them was like read a book in 4 sittings or less. Okay, that's completely doable. Mm-hmm. Or like read a book that's under 100 pages, or like a lot of the ones were just kind of like looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay, this I can easily do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just generally this year trying not to do as many readathons as I normally do because I get so stressed out. Because I'm so competitive with myself that I'm always like, go big or go home. And then I disappoint myself if I can't like live up to the expectations that I put on myself, which is really stupid.
I feel like the exhaustion of the past couple of years has really started to catch up with me, and I'm like, oh yeah.
That's a real feel.
I've definitely felt that. Like that, I think that was part of the reason why I just kind of threw myself into Horizon Forbidden West, was because it was something where like it was new, but it was also like taking a more active role instead of like reading or watching TV. I don't know. It was something where I haven't felt like that compelled to do in a really long time.
Mm-hmm. Have you Di, have you ever watched Studs and Studios?
No.
Oh,
this guy who-
the Tremor Task. The Tremor Task he just did.
He just did a trimmer task. He does like little, like he does home done models made out of like, you know, like
Ooh.
recycled trash.
Yeah.
And so
And
like
his-
he's got
and
like,
his
a
video
giant house with
editing-
a castle and like
Yeah.
things like that.
And-
And he did one from Horizon.
And his video editing and humor is right up my alley. Like he's like if you watch nothing else from him, I would suggest watching the video where he does Howl's Moving Castle, like a
That guy.
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
it's so
Oh,
good.
that's right.
Yeah. And also now he did the Tremor Task from
I don't know what that
Horizon
is.
Zero
I mean,
Dawn.
he has a
Tremor
whole
Tasks
bunch of stuff.
Are a pain in
Yeah.
the ass to fight, but they're not my least favorite robot in that game. I hate the fucking and I'm sorry, I hate the fucking kangaroo robots so much.
Oh my god, those
hate
robots suck.
I hate them so much. So those I deeply dislike. And then the other one I deeply dislike is the giant snapping turtle because it will go underground and then it will just burst up and attack you. And it's
Yeah. And also, like, my personal, like, most hated robot types in any Horizon game are the friggin' birds. Like, the birds, they will just go, they'll just fly high, and then they'll just swoop in to kill you, and it's so annoying, and then you never ever, like, get to kill them in like, a clean way.
I am really sad that they nerfed the rope caster because that was my go-to for fighting birds. But the other thing is what I did with my second playthrough was I did the custom difficulty where I kept it on normal, but I turned on easy loot because I hated trying to shoot off the different bits that I needed. Oh, and you haven't encountered this and you won't until later in the game, but they do a Spinosaurus, I think it is, a dinosaur, like the one that's like a T-Rex but has the spine on its back.
Yeah.
There's one of those and it sucks to fight so much.
Oh. Is it worse or less worse than the friggin' fire bear in the Frozen Wilds
Well,
DLC?
those are back, by the way.
No, I don't want to fight the bears.
The bears
I
are back.
dislike the bears.
The bears are back.
Okay. Oh no, the bears are back in town.
Oh god, I think it's worse because, well, I don't know. I actually think the bears might be worse because I can find ways to snipe the slaughter spine and use purge water. Invest in purge water bombs. Those things are clutch.
Oh, for sure. We have done that a lot.
So
Any type of bombs and traps is like, thank you.
I'm interrupting really quick to just say that I am being summoned.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hop off, but I will be watching the rest of this later.
Okay.
Okay. Bye
Bye everyone.
Bye. Yeah.
Okay.
Kat, I see the bears suck. The bears suck so much. The stalkers, I don't mind too much, especially once I get the tear blast arrows because I can track them easily and then just use that to rip off their stealth generators. But yeah, I hate the bears too. I was just hunting some of the frost bears to get parts to upgrade some gear and it sucked.
Yeah, I hate the bears. Well, at least now I can mentally prepare for the bears. Probably I'm probably not gonna able to play the game until next weekend, maybe because my partner has been super enthused about playing Death Stranding, which is weird. It's like I mean I expect weird from Hideo Kojima because he is he likes his stuff weird, but Death Stranding seems to take the weirdness to another level. Like, there are urinary mechanics in that game.
What?
Yeah, you going to the toilet to pee is actually preparing resources, and if you pee on a boss, it will actually cause the boss to like lose HP.
What?
I'm like, why is this
What?
here? Also, every time you take the main character, every time Norman Reedus goes to have a shower in that game, it is lovingly animated. Every single part of his body is shown slick and wet in the shower cubicle. It's like
Who's the target audience of this?
Everyone, I guess. All the bi and pansexuals of the world, apparently.
Yeah, but also it's Norman Reedus. I don't get the appeal.
I mean,
Is there
me
something
neither.
about this dude that other people really like or something?
I don't know. I don't get it. Leia. Okay.
Yes. Little chaos gremlin.
Before, like, I need to talk about something because me and Joe have a plan for Rachel. You remember, Rachel, how we watched the first season of Nevers together?
Yes.
And had a fun time. Well,
Yeah.
I have a suggestion. I want to rewatch Arcane because Arcane is a fantastic series. Would you be interested in watching it together with me and Joe so we can see your reactions to
Okay.
all the cool stuff? Me and Joe have been playing the Trine game series by Frozen Byte Studios. We have the Trine Thursdays where we play together, and just recently we've spent almost like 30 minutes just gushing about Arcane and how good it is.
Okay.
It's like one of the like best pieces of animation I have ever seen, or TV in general, and I still can't believe that it has been conceptualized through the toxic cesspool that is League of Legends. I still
don't even
can't
know what
believe
League of Legends is.
it's a video game, but you don't need to know anything about League of Legends to enjoy watching Arcane, because like it essentially is like, well, we take these characters from League of Legends and some of these lore concepts, and we'll just play around with them and make something better out of them. At least that's how I've been viewing it, considering that I have played League of Legends and I absolutely detest the game. So, but the TV show Arcane is incredible.
Okay, so it's on Netflix?
It is on Netflix, yes.
Okay. Well, we should do it pretty soon because I'm about getting ready to cancel my Netflix subscription again. So
Oh, we can start next weekend if you want, because I am free. And also, I mean, I am sincerely hoping I did my part, but I am sincerely hoping that there's a sizable like overlap in the Venn diagram of Hugo voting populace and people who have watched Arcane. I am hoping that at least one of the episodes will get nominated in the short form dramatic presentation. I am hoping, because it would deserve it.
We should do it. Somebody will have to DM me and remind me.
Yes. Also, I just generally want to watch shows with you again.
Yes.
I had fun.
Speaking of Hugos, and this might be something that we loop Bree in on, but I had a lot of fun last year when we did our reaction live stream.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again. I'm feeling so disconnected from Hugo stuff this year. I didn't prepare very well for voting. Like, it's astonishing I even got nominations in this year, but I think I will enjoy just doing stuff on the sidelines again with Hugo and Worldcon and everything. So we should do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, go on.
Oh, I need to get my membership because I think, and I need to double check with my friend who I'm hoping to stay with in Chicago. But I think instead of doing the con hotel, I might just stay with my friend because I don't want to have to pay for the hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can opt for a non-expensive option, then
Yeah, I'd rather pay for like the Uber or the public transit to get to the con hotel.
I mean, I am still considering like I know that we had that talk about possibly doing a road trip from like mini St. Paul to Chicago, and I started looking at flight prices for like, okay, how about I take a flight to like Minneapolis and then take a home flight from Chicago? 1,900 euros.
Oh, Jesus.
Whereas if I just got like a return, like to and from flight from to and from Chicago flights, that would be like 650 to 700, which is like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, they actually, and it's difficult to fly in and out of different places. Like it gets so expensive. So like if you can do round trip, it's cheaper.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make any sense to me why that is, but you know.
I really hope this is the year when we can resume Worldcon adventures and people can travel again. I mean, we're still going to be in the middle of a pandemic because that's not just going to disappear. But
well, that's true. I'm also pretty anxious about all the like politics going on right now. Like, not gonna lie, the whole situation with Ukraine has also kind of made my country consider our like security policies and stuff like that for obvious reasons.
So I feel like because of the state of the world right now, like everything's still a bit in limbo, like plans and everything. And I think a lot of us are probably a little bit leery of making solid plans until closer to the actual time. But we'll have to try to make it work in some way.
Yeah, and there are a lot of great yarn stores in Chicago. So.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Basically, it's like museums, food, friends, and then Worldcon.
Yeah. I will say 100% the two things that I definitely am planning on going to and would love to drag other people along to are the Field Museum to see our NB Murder Burp icon, Sue. Yes. And then also going to the Shed Aquarium because it's very pretty and they have a lot of sea otters.
Otters!
Like this is my one like regret about not being able to go to DisCon back in December was it would have been my first and possibly only chance to go to DC and go to the museums, and that didn't happen.
You totally have other chances to go to DC's like I do miss parts of living in DC, and a big chunk of that is the free museums because it completely spoils me because like every Smithsonian is free. The National Gallery, which is not a Smithsonian, is also free. And then certain museums will do first Fridays of the month free.
That's awesome.
And then in the summer, on Fridays, there's jazz in the sculpture garden and they sell pitchers of sangria. Like you have to get there early because all the friggin' interns will congregate there because it's free entertainment and they're broke, which okay, I understand, but also it's a pain in the ass to get a spot.
What the? I see that Nicolas Diaz says that looks like this winter spring was the time for leaving Netflix. It would be interesting to know why each person is doing that just now. I don't know in general, but there was a little bit of a controversy recently with regards to like Netflix being pressured to promote Russian state media through their streaming platform, which caused a lot of people to start to boycott them before Netflix came out and said that they were not actually going to do that and they were withdrawing their services from Russia.
I hadn't seen that, but I think in the States it might be partially the Dave Chappelle stuff, partially the fact that they keep upping their prices.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like the content that you're getting is so unpredictable because you'll have things like Babysitter's Club, which is fantastic, but it got canceled, or like Julie and the Phantoms that got canceled like fairly suddenly. And like the way that Netflix chooses the shows that get additional seasons is just weird. And they're also like doing the thing. It's like, oh, well, we might start charging you a fee for sharing your password outside.
I know. Yeah.
So I think part of the thing is too, is Netflix has based its entire model on the binge model. And you're seeing with pretty much every other streamer that they're not. And I think that helps like drive the conversation and gets people excited. So like something like Ted Lasso, like had it been done with the Netflix model where it was like all the episodes all at once, I don't think it would have had the impact that it did compared to how it was with Apple Plus, where it's like you had a week between episodes and so you had more people talking about it between episodes
for an extended period of time. Yeah. I mean, that's why like I regularly re-up and then cancel with Netflix, is because I only watch the new seasons of like 3 shows and they drop all at once. And so I re-up my subscription for 2 or 3 months to catch up on the new seasons, and then I cancel it. So like I got a new subscription to watch the new season of Witcher back in December or whatever. So it's like again, because I watch so few things on Netflix. I mean, I know they've got a ton of stuff on there, but I don't watch any of it.
I am basically I am like suckered in by Netflix at this point, just because they put out so much K-drama, Chinese dramas, like, and there aren't really, at least in like Finland, because Hulu doesn't really work here, and Amazon Prime is also very like sketchy in terms, because Finland doesn't have Amazon actually, so you have to do a lot of like workarounds to get it to like work properly. Well, not a lot, but enough that it's annoying. So like Netflix is one of the few places where you can actually have legal access to a lot of like Asian cinema and TV shows and stuff. So
yeah, and I'm the primary Netflix person in my extended family, so I'm the person who like owns the account. So like me canceling it would and I know my family who watches it more than I do. So it's just weird. I do the millennial thing though of mooching off of everyone else's accounts though. So like I get Hulu and Disney from my dad. I get HBO and Showtime from my grandparents. I get Amazon from my aunt.
I wish I could do that. Like I would be a prime person to do some mooching, because I watch so little streaming television that it really sucks to have to pay for a full account for however many months just so I can watch one thing. Like I will eventually get HBO Max again so I can watch whenever Gentleman Jack comes back or whatever.
Oh yeah, whenever Gentleman Jack comes back for the 2nd season, I'm gonna immediately take up another month of HBO Max.
Yeah.
Because I recently also canceled my subscription to that service.
Yeah, I will say, like, I don't subscribe. Like, I get it from one of my family members, but I'm like so frustrated with Paramount Plus because they currently don't have a PlayStation 5 app and the PS4 app doesn't work. And so if I want to watch like Star Trek, I have to watch it on my computer, or I have to hook my laptop up to my TV. And it's just very frustrating right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, the PlayStation 5 has been out for over a year at this point. Like, just fucking release the app.
I mean, are you one of those lucky people who has gotten access to a PS5?
Yes.
Because I for sure am not.
Yes, because I put my name in with Sony, and Sony told me when I had the opportunity to buy it because I wasn't going to be paying an arm and a leg to a scalper.
Oh my god, Becca. There's a German queer
Yeah,
on
there's
it.
a German Queer Eye. I just saw it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Wow.
But I thought that I would watch it with like German subtitles as well to kind of brush up on my German. So I shall see.
Oh. I should find some more things on Netflix to watch. But yeah. Oh, I did start watching Katla.
Yes.
Is that the one that you watched, Rhea?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm about halfway through that, and
It is
I'm
a
also,
very, very weird show.
It is, but it's really different.
Yeah. It's also sort of sad, or not sort
it
of sad.
is. I mean,
very
the
sad.
reason why I haven't watched the second half is that I got the feeling that it was headed towards some really depressing territory, and so
Yeah.
I'm kind of, you might be able to. I'm kind of pausing sad things in my life right now.
It's very interesting because if you think about all of the people in that show that sort of come back, they're all people who are related to someone's loss.
Yes. Yeah. So it's very moody, and I also find it very pretty as well for whatever reason. The setting
It
and
makes me want to go to Iceland so bad.
It does, yeah. So yeah, I also started watching the IT Crowd on Netflix because one of my coworkers is constantly quoting from it.
That one's fun.
I like IT Crowd as well. But now I can't watch it because I feel it hits too close to home. because I work in IT.
You know, I probably wouldn't haven't enjoyed it quite as much if I was still in my old job. But now I'm like, I will never ever have to deal with anything like that again. So
I'm trying to think what the thing is. I haven't been watching original series on Netflix. I've been watching the documentary stuff that they've been doing. So I still need to watch the Boeing series, which is basically like corporate true crime. But yeah, I think the last full thing I watched on Netflix was Bad Sport, which is all about just sports scandals. So they did one on like the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics with the pairs ice skating. They did an episode on soccer match fixing in Italy, a cricket captain who was taking bribes to throw games. There was also one about a race car driver who was funding his racing team with money he got from drug smuggling.
Oh God.
Like most of them are like not super dark. The darkest one was content warning for animal death. Was basically about show horses and how rich people will buy these very expensive horses and insure them. And then when they need like a quick influx of cash, what they did was they hired this guy who would electrocute them to death in a way that made it look like colic. So
that's horrible.
Like it's awful. And it's very like, it's so gross.
Oh my God.
Your story didn't go to the direction that I thought it was going. I knew.
It's super dark, and I think it was Medina Spirit died recently, and a lot of he was the. I don't know if he actually did that, but he was the Derby winner who it turned out was taking drugs, or they were drugging him.
What?
Oh yeah, yeah. So he died after it came out that he had been they had been injecting him with drugs, and some people are like, did he really die of natural causes? Because that seems sus that he died like so soon after it was revealed they were drugging him.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with people?
Like the horse racing and show horsing community is dark as fuck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone remember it was a New Zealand based show. I can't for the life of me remember what it's about, but it's a soap opera that was all about this like stable, like riding school, and it was all about the interpersonal relationships between all the people who were working at the stable and the riding instructors and the owners of the stable and stuff like that. It had a lot of horses, but in actuality the storylines had very little to do with horses. It was
I mean,
more about the
that
relationships.
that whole world is just so full of money and privilege and ego.
Oh
And
yeah.
what makes it really terrible, especially when talking about like animal abuse and stuff, is that there are also a lot of people involved in the horse world who love horses.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And it's
I
just
mean,
like every time something like that happens, it's a horror. I mean, it's already like a tragedy when somebody's horse dies. But to find out that somebody in your community was intentionally killing their horses for money is just like,
well, there's this weird thing because like I've grown up with horses, and my cousin currently like raises horses, and there's this weird like you know, if you have a dog or you have a cat, and you're super attached to them, and it's like a pet, but like when you put in like competitive elements like cat shows or dog shows, the people tend to become more cutthroat, and they don't necessarily view the animal as an individual anymore, and it becomes more like a source of like fame and stuff. That's like amped up to 11 in horse circles. Like horses don't like, it's like friggin' animal flea markets. Like it's like, well, this horse isn't working for me right now, so like just looking through Facebook advertisements for people like, well, I'm selling this 3-year-old gelding of little use, very easy to ride. Like it sounds like they're selling a car. There's no emotion there. I think that it's so freaked up.
I mean, I'm not a horse person, but my sister-in-law is an equestrian and boards horses and everything, and she's had to deal with horses dying, including her new baby horse, and it's like a death in the family. It's like losing a child.
But
And
it's very much like depends on the kind of like what's your level of engagement with the community. Like for example, if you are someone who is in it to like make a buck, then it's sad when a foal dies, but it's sad on an I lost an investment type of way. Whereas for other people it is an actual emotional investment as well, so they are
other people
emotionally
like my
devastated.
sister-in-law are like, oh, this is my new horse, I'm going to spend the next 30 years of my life with this
exactly
horse, you know. Yeah.
But then you have the people who are like, well, this will be my horse for the next 4 years when I'm gonna compete with it, and then I am gonna switch to a new fresh horse.
Yeah.
Which is,
they're not cars.
Anyway, sorry to bring the tone down. I do need to wrap because I have some errands I need to get done.
Yes, we're almost to the end of our 2 hours. I'm sorry, I've not been tracking time very well. So, do we want to quickly wrap up with anything we are looking forward to?
Yeah.
I am looking forward to watching Arcane with Rachel and Joe.
Arcane, yes. And next month, Fevered Star comes out in almost exactly 30 days.
Yeah.
I should probably also put my pre-order in.
Yeah.
So that I can get the hardcover.
I am also really looking forward to Aspects by John M. Ford. I've never actually read a John Ford novel before, but I decided I would try to do a bit of a project this year of reading his books as they're being brought back into print. And so I actually have an ARC copy of Aspects, and I started reading it and was like, this is going to be so freaking good. So that was coming out in early April. And it's really weird. Like, I'm going to read Aspects first, but it was his very last unfinished novel. So maybe not the best starting place. But sometimes you just start reading a book and you're like, oh my God, this person knows how to write. They know how to use language and just how to start a story. It's it's great.
In addition to Fevered Star, I'm really looking forward to Queen's Hope by E.K. Johnston, which is the last book in her Padme trilogy, which is taking place after Attack of the Clones. And then the other one I'm really looking forward to is Portrait of a Thief by Grace Lee, which is the novel inspired by the heists of Chinese artifacts from Western museums.
Yeah. I have to ask, is the Padme the Padme book, is it a continuation for like, was it Queen's Shadow and then there was the other?
Queen's
is it
Peril.
that? Yeah, is it that? Yeah, okay. Because I've heard things.
They're very good. They're very I haven't read Queen's Shadow, but I did read Queen's Peril, and it read like fanfic, and I mean that as a compliment. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to those 3 books.
Let's see. Now that I have a nice little spreadsheet about all of my anticipated releases, I can just check from there. In April, as Rachel said, there's Fevered Star, but there's also a Sophie and the Bone Song by Adrian Tully, which is a sapphic fantasy, and it is all about like music as magic. Like basically, I am expecting it to have bards with lutes, and they are using magic in that way. I am excited about it. Also, there's another Finnish book coming out called Laakson linnut Aavan laulut, which is essentially, if you have read Maria Turchaninov's books, I get a similar vibe from this. Like if you have read Naundel or my name is blanking because I am now, my brain is
Maresi?
Yes, my brain was like Piranesi, and I'm like, no, it's not Piranesi. Stop, brain. But yeah, I get a similar vibe from it because it's also kind of like inspired by the Kalevala Finnish folklore, also like this magic that comes from like women, especially like that women have inherent magic. And also like magic that has to do with song and also hair. So I am looking forward. Yeah, hair. So I'm looking forward to that.
It has really fabulous hair. Please let me know.
I mean, the cover has like this woman with really long like red tresses. So I'm really excited. So I'm gonna hopefully be reading that. Yeah, those are the 3 things that are in April in my list.
Awesome. There are actually so many interesting books coming out in April. I was preparing my list of anticipated releases for this next quarter, and I was like, there are like maybe 15 things coming out in April that I'm like, I cannot whittle down my list anymore. So yeah, lots of things to look forward to.
I'm trying to be good about limiting the number of pre-orders that I do.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I'm trying.
I got gift cards for my birthday in February, which is kind of a first. So I decided to use that money to pre-order the things I most wanted and try to just stick to that for the rest of the year and then get everything else from the library. Because I have to say, my libraries have been really good about getting most of the things that I'm interested in. So I should take advantage of that. All right. Well, I think we have wound down. So we want to let everybody know where they can find us and what we're going to be up to next. I can start. You can find me here if I'm around. I'm not on a video schedule right now because of personal stuff going on, but hopefully I will come out with my anticipated releases of the next 3 months or so, and I have wrap-ups to film, so they will be out eventually.
You can find me at Bookish Die, and I'm also currently not on a schedule. I will try and finally edit some stuff that I've filmed a while ago and finally put up. And then I'll probably do a joint February March wrap up in early April.
Cool. Reija?
Oh, yeah. You can find me at the channel The Bookfinch and also sometimes on Twitter, where I mostly retweet art things. Probably, hopefully, next thing I will be doing would be some tag videos. And I am currently planning a bigger project, which is kind of going to be a video essay sort of thing on translation and crediting translators, but it's going to be a kind of ambitious project. So expect that is coming in the spring, but I'm currently researching it.
I'm excited about that. That'll be really interesting.
Yeah. Hopefully it will work out.
You'll make it work. All right. That, I think, is everything for us this month. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. It was really fun to see all of you in the chat. I believe we will be on Reija's channel next month. Yes. So we will let you know as soon as we know when the next date will be. Usually check Twitter for that information. And yeah, thank you all for being here and happy first day of spring in our hemisphere. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.